Hi, my name is, some of y'all, a lot of people know me, some of you may not. My name is Walt Liles. I'm actually a director of operations, but tonight I'm going to be your clinician. And I'm actually doing this tonight on layout planning software. So, one of the questions I have for you, first of all, I'm going to ask for a show of hands here. And I see you over there. I see two over there. I need a show of hands. How many of you actually own, open, and actually use layout planning software of any sort? Show of hands. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I've got about 17, 18 folks, 19 folks in here. Okay. So we got about, we're pushing about less than 20% of the room uses software. So how many of y'all use a grid pad of paper and a scale ruler and a triangle? Okay.
How many of you use Waffle House napkins?
All right, Scott, put up Waffle House too long. No more coffee for that guy. Okay. Well, for some of y'all, a lot of you know me as a train guy, and you know stuff I do. Professionally, I'm actually a professional trainer. I'm a presenter for my company. My specialty is GPS equipment on heavy equipment. And so I go out to job sites, big highway projects. But what I'm actually involved in is I have to work with civil plans, architectural plans, you name it, I'm involved in it. And so my background is civil engineering, computers, surveying, you name it, I've got it all. And I have to in the business I'm in. So what that means is I've had to learn CAD. I learned CAD the old-fashioned way. I did drafting originally. So I did it by pencil and scale and ruler, using the old-fashioned way of doing stuff. So that is still a good way to do it. I'm not busting that by no means. If that is what you're comfortable with, nothing wrong with it at all. But here's the thing. Not everybody is comfortable running CAD software. CAD can be very intimidating, can be very complicated, can actually get very expensive. Now there are different softwares on the market, but let me tell you what we're going to do tonight. Right now you're looking at a software package that I have on the screen, and there's a reason why that software package is on the screen. One, it was free. That's kind. No, the real reason is I Googled it. And I Googled it for a reason. I actually Googled layout planning software for model railroads. And you know what? This was the one that came up first. And there's probably a reason why. If you understand computers, things don't just come up first just for the heck of it. There's a really good reason. Either you paid a lot of money, which you obviously can't pay a lot of money because you're not spending a lot of money on a product. So there's a reason why. It means it's getting lots of hits. Lots of people are downloading and looking at this product for some reason, okay? So there is other software out there. They're a little bit more complicated. They're a little bit more expensive. But I chose this one because it was the first one that came up and it said something that caught my eye, and I wanted to put myself, you gotta remember, I run CAD. I'm a very advanced user. But I flipped myself back and said, I want to be in the position of somebody that's never done CAD before. I gotta look at, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna be able to run this stuff? Is it really easy? Can I do it? This first time, I don't know anything about CAD. Do I got a computer? Those are the kind of questions I flipped myself and said, hey, what can I do on software that makes it easy for me? And so easy was the key word that I looked for when I looked for a brief description. So I looked up and opened up the product and said, hey, try a free download version. So I downloaded it. It didn't take very long, okay? So don't be worried you're going to sit there for an hour or two waiting on the download. And I downloaded it, and this is a trial version. They do charge, and you can go back and use your PayPal account. If you use PayPal, you can actually do it. I think it's $59 if you want the live version. You get all the updates and all that stuff. But right now, I'm in a trial version. So we're going to start by doing a real basic layout tonight. And if you know nothing about CAD, take CAD out of the formula. This is not a CAD program. This is a layout planning software program. And so there's a couple of neat features in here that make it easy for the everyday person that's never done something. We're going to jump into this stuff, and I want to show you how easy it is. It's not hard, okay? So that's why I asked earlier, how many of y'all actually run software? Because you notice I didn't ask what software you run. If you're a professional engineer, or maybe you're an architect, you're familiar with CAD programs, those are easy things to do for you. But if if you've never been around the CAD world, there's a lot of terms, there's a lot of new things. It can be very intimidating. It's kind of like DCC for the first time. If you've never done it, it's a little scary. So, man, I don't know, electronics. Well, same way with computers and graphics. So the first thing that becomes very important for you, if you have a computer at home and you don't have one of these, you need a mouse. Don't know what a mouse is, this is a mouse. Now, there's a good reason. You want a mouse with a roller on it. Not a roller, you need something that you can change and roll with here and slide around with the clicks and everything else. That is a critical element anytime you work in any kind of graphics type package. So if you don't have it. If you have just a touchpad on your laptop or computer, not going to cut it. You need a mouse. Buy a comfortable mouse. If you spend a lot of time doing this stuff, buy one that's very ergonomical to your hand. Don't buy one of those super duper little tiny mice, because what's going to happen is your hand's going to turn like that. You need something that your hand is comfortable with as you work on a drawing for a little while to do it. So what you're looking at first, this is what I did in just a few minutes the other night, using this software. This was not hard. So what we're going to do, I want to point out a couple features here that you're looking at. I actually elevated the track. I put the track plan on this grid. I actually connected a bunch of switches. I used flex track. I used sectional track. But I basically put together a small layout design. That's in about 15 minutes of just playing around with this stuff, trying to figure it out, okay? So this is not hard. I don't want to be intimidating. This is not going to be a very long clinic. I don't want to bore you. Look at the computer graphic screens and all that can get really long. Wow. So we don't want to do that tonight. I want to just keep this simple. I want to keep it upbeat. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to drive the car. I got to put my glasses on. I can't see anything. Okay, still can't see anything. All right. We're going to go to File. One of the first things it does, it shows you the recent things that you might start with. But we're going to go over here and we're going to go to New. And so the first thing it does, change my screen a little bit here, but I've got a different thing here that I can go to. I can go to Settings. And this is actually probably one of the most critical ones that you want to start out with. So I haven't started a drawing yet or anything. If you look at some of these numbers, I've set up a couple things. I've set up a grid pattern, 12-inch spacing. But I've also, right here, if you click this, let's see where it's at. Hang on a second. My measurement system, there it is. This one's critical. For most of you, now I work in decimals at first. I don't even work in inches anymore. I don't even think in inches anymore. But unfortunately, I went back to inches for you guys. And so what I did, I clicked on inches and fractions, so it makes a little bit more sense to you, and that's kind of how you build your layout and work things. There's a few things across these bars. Maximum percent of slope, 3%. So basically it's going to redline me if I try to go above 3%. So there's a reason why each one of these numbers are actually set up in here. You got some tolerances, setting up some boxes for an 1/8 inch, an angle 3. I've got alert, flex is too long, alert too sharp or curve. I'm going to stick to an 18-inch radius curve. As I said, I'm keeping this simple to a basic layout, okay? I'm trying to design a huge basic layout. Not that you can't do that. This actually, the software will let you do it. So one of the things I want to show to you, all right, I've got everything set up that I want to do it. I'm going to track libraries, and you don't have to reset this every time. So if you start one layout and you say, I don't like that, I'm going to start over. The settings should default to what you had the last time. So you're not going to have to go back and do this all over again. But one of the things, I'm in track library, and I go to HO. I thought this was pretty neat because it offered just about every kind of track that's available to buy here. So the one I had on the screen earlier was an Atlas. You have Atlas track, you have Kato, you have Roku, True Scale, Walthers, which is what Shahar. You've also got Pico somewhere in there. There's Pico track, if you like Pico. But I'm going to go to Atlas, and I'm going to go to Code 83. You got Code 100 and Code 83, but I like Code 83. And it brings up a library right here. And I thought this was a pretty darn neat feature. So my screen's a little condensed here, so I'm going to keep this kind of simplified. But if you scan over this, this is what I thought was kind of neat. If you know the product numbers of the product, it makes it easier. I don't know the products. So by scanning over it, the first one says 36-inch, code 83, flex track. Okay? Well, that's good to know. First one on the list. If I go here, that's a number 6 switch, left turnout. That's a number 6 switch, right turnout. You start pulling over all these different things, you find the different pieces of the puzzle that you can use. And we'll get into this a little bit. So the first thing we're going to do is, usually when I'm designing a layout, I'm probably going to start my first thing at a turnout. I want to get a turnout in here and get started. So I'm going to look at my list and see what we got. That's a Y. Let's see, that's 10.5. And there must be some different things. I'm not familiar with all Atlas's products, so there's some different things available. There may be some European stuff here that I'm not familiar with. So that may be Scott Chatfield may or Steve may be able to answer some of those questions about product. Here we go. Number 6 switch, 12-inch. So I'm going to start with that. I'm going to go with this one right here. So I'm going to click this, and it throws it on the screen just like this. So when you put your mouse, this is why you got to have a mouse. You grab this, and you can drag it. So I'm going to line it up with that line right there. And I let go. Okay? So I've got my first switch in there. Okay? And let's come on over here and see what we got for some straight pieces. There's a little straight piece, 9-inch straight feeder. So I grab this over here. And one of the things this software will do is when I put there, I can't hold the mic to do all this, but you'll see it connects right here. When I let go, when I get close, it will snag it right there at the intersection. It will pull it together a lot easier than you can actually do track by hand. So it brings that together. Now, I want to throw some curves in there. Let me find my curve pieces. Can't remember all the catalog numbers, so y'all bear with me. Let's throw some 22, 18, 24 curve radius, 22-inch radius. Here we go. I'm going to grab that. Now, I want you to notice something. See how that's kind of turned the wrong way? You're probably saying, gee, Walt, how are you going to do that? Well, I stick it right there. It's going the wrong way, right? Wrong. Watch this. It snags together. I thought that was a pretty cool feature for a real basic program. Now, keep in mind, I'm in a trial version. I haven't even paid for a darn thing on this. This is trial version. So I'm just keeping this simple. So I can keep coming over here, grab one of these things up, just drag it over here, connect that right there, boom, starts pulling it together. That's how easy this software allows you to work. That's why I wanted to show y'all this tonight. I thought you would really like to see this. Now, if you need to turn it, you grab this like this. You see the little turn icons kind of go around the circle there, and I can twist this. Now, bring that, and I pull that together. So it's very easy to operate, and as I'm telling you, this does not take long to start putting together a layout if you want to design something. Keep in mind, there's a couple different things I'm not showing you here. In my other product earlier, you saw some numbers, you saw some colors, so we should be able to come over here, find some stuff here. I've got to find it all here. I'm still getting used to the software too. There we go. Under show, I can do track, I can do center line, which changes it to that. I can do what they call the sleeper, which puts it in that. I can also say hidden track, visible track, track ends. I can also put the label, and I should be able to come over here and say part number, and it will actually put the part number in the background. So if you're trying to figure out how many of what I have, it will display them on the screen, which I thought was pretty neat. I'm going to see if I can remember how to do this. It was actually a feature as I started putting this together that it allowed me to get a report also of what I need to build a layout with the tracks and all. I thought that was pretty cool as well, so a nice feature. So little things I'm doing here. So I don't want this to look hard to you guys. I want this to look simple, and it really is. And that's why I wanted y'all to see this. There's some great software out there. I think Sandia has a package. There's another software company out there that has some stuff. CAD Rail. There used to be Atlas. Atlas no longer offers their little program anymore. That I did find out. So, but I'm telling you this, when you Google this was the first one that came up. I thought that was kind of interesting because I had not seen this anywhere advertised or anywhere. And so right now I've built a switch, come around here. I can come in here right now and grab Turnout, start putting this together. This goes pretty darn fast when you start grabbing this. Hook that. Now see, now I'm doing my ladder real quick.
Can you make copies, that way you don't have to do that all the time?
Make copies of it.
Like let's say you're doing a double track main line, you can make a copy of it.
Yes, you can run parallel lines and things like that. Like I said, this is not a CAD program. I don't want to confuse you. This is not a CAD program. This is actually a layout planning software. So the one thing I want to show you that's really neat, okay? These were curved fixed sections. I threw in my little ladder right here. I'm going to go grab one of my pieces of flex. Okay, so I grab my flex track. Oh, geez, how do I do that? Same thing. I click one time, twist it, grab it, drag it, come over here, boom. Now that's a straight piece, but watch what happens. If I grab this here, I can move that around. But what I thought was cool, and this goes back to my civil training and everything else I've got, it actually grabs, I can actually grab a radial point coming off of this. Let's see if I got everything showing up. Percents. Yes, right there. You see one? I'm having a hard time seeing this. There we go. There it is. Yeah, there it is. I can actually grab that radius point. Okay, there we go. Did y'all see the little red line that came up? The red line was important. That was that 18-inch minimum alert that I told it to not let me do. So, do it again.
Here we go, Walt. Here we go.
There's the red line, and it occurred in two places. It occurred down there coming out of the turnout because it's too sharp. And as I pull it in tighter, it goes away. Okay? Now see, I'm okay there. And then I can also drag this thing out too. So there's all kinds of cool things you can do in this program. That's why I wanted y'all to see this stuff. It is really, really cool. And I need to straighten that out a little bit. All right, so giving you some concept. I'm watching time here too. I know they got to do the lecture results tonight. I wanted you to see this because I really thought this was cool. So I'm going to click that on. Now you see the road bed. So graphically, it actually has pretty powerful graphics in this thing. I'm looking where I can put it. But watch this. Let's see. How do I do this? Never know what happens. I can move the whole thing around and kind of place it. Let's see, I want to get it. There we go. I can place the whole shift at one time. I thought that was a pretty neat feature that I could slide and shift the whole layout instead of having to move individual pieces. Just by grabbing one thing. Yes, sir. This is called Any Rail. I thought that was pretty cool name myself. Any Rail. Pretty simple.
How much it cost to purchase it?
It's $59.95 US dollars. But this is free. I'm in a free trial version. It's not bad at all. For all the stuff I'm doing, it's actually pretty cool. So for time purposes, I wanted to show you this. So if I go into the track library, like I said, I'm using the HO. But you also have object libraries. Now, this is what actually caught my eye. You go to HO. There's all kinds of HO library for, all right, it's worked the other night. Let's see what we got. Let's see what's going on here. I can bring up, supposed to be able to bring up scenery.
Click the box.
You see it?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. There we go. So then you can put your trees over here. You can start positioning your scenery where you want it to go. Then you also got, you go back to object libraries. There's one for Walters. There's signals. I thought the signal, let me show you this one. This one's really cool. can come over and bring the signals over here and put a signal right where I want it, and I can take this and twist it around so I know which way I want to have it. I thought that was pretty cool, and it's a nice library. And if I'm using terms you're not used to, that's okay. Just ask me a question here in a minute, I'll try to answer it. But I really thought they had a nice variety of stuff that if you're trying to do something, it really makes it pretty cool. So I put that signal right in there.
How many brands of actual track do they have in there?
Whatever you saw on the screen earlier, I really didn't count the number of brands. It was a good bit of them. Good bit of them. It was a nice variety library, I will say that. That's just under HO. Now, because you know, I'm an HO guy, but they have N, they have TT, they have G gauge, they have O gauge. They got it all here. It's not just an HO product. Okay?
Yes.
So, but they also have under this, you know, there's Walther structures. So some of you might know that there's a sand house, a tower, shops, all that can be brought over here and put in here. I'm not trying to, see if I can drag, there we go. You can put it where you want to. Then you also have the ability to go back over here. I can add a line right here. And I can come in, let's say draw a line. Like I said, it's not a really good CAD package, but it wasn't meant to be a CAD package. That's what I was trying to basically say. But you can draw lines in here if you want to. You can also add text. You can come in and put a text box in. Put something in there. Boom. You got it in there. You can also go back. Let me find this one thing here. This was pretty cool. Let me find it where it went. I have to keep up with all this stuff. This is hard. I mean, I do software on a good bit of my stuff, so I have a lot of software in my head. I can do slope percentages. If I come over to the track right here, I right-click it, I can say set the height. And I come over here, let's say I want to say 5 inches, and watch what happens. It now knows that because this has another elevation, and this is 5 inches, there's a 46.3% slope going in the track right
That's
a little too much. A few inches we're having a problem. But what I can do is I click here, I go back to set height, and I'll say that was 5, and I'll say 4.5. Told you I'm a decimal kind of guy. Now it's 5.8%, and as I keep going around and changing the heights, and I'll say 4.4, cut out some of that steepness for you, you'll start to see it's 1.2%. See the red, if y'all remember when I set up the settings earlier, I told you I set a default for nothing more than 3%. So it's flagging me in red that I exceeded my tolerance of 3%. So I know I need to be down here in the black to be running that in a little bit better situation right there. So real quickly, you know, kind of going through this, and in fairness to the software, I don't want it to be complicated. I wanted to show you something very easy that you can go home, go download this thing, find any rail, and there's a trial version, download it, give it a try. Try this stuff out. This is what's important in the hobby. Sometimes you don't know what you're going to learn until you try something out, you make a few mistakes, but then if you get comfortable with this stuff, you can design a layout. It'll be something you like, and you say, hey, I told you I took drafting when I was in school a long time ago, and I had a really tough instructor, but I was glad. He taught me a couple things. In drafting, it was either right or it was wrong. And he let you know that really quick with his red pencil. So, but what it taught me was I try to plan everything. This is the engineering side of me in my brain. I try to plan out everything on paper first. I'd rather make a mistake on paper here or in design with the computer than make it in the field or over on the cut table or somewhere else. So what you do is you take your time and you make your mistakes here and play with things instead of cutting wood and trying to figure out cut 3 times and all that good stuff. You try to figure out what you want on design. And a lot of times you can test this kind of stuff and figure out what's going to work. You know, if you say, hey, I run 50-foot cars. Okay, I'm going to kind of go in the HO world here for a second. If I say I run 50-foot cars, they're basically 6.5 inches long. And I want to put a spur track in here, And I said, well, I really want to shove 3 cars down there, but I only got 14 or 15 inches of track. Well, you're not going to get 3 50-foot cars in there. So you've got to figure out, hey, what do I have space for? So you have to plan your industry, you have to plan your spurs based on the limited amount of space. If you can fit that track in there with some curvature and say, hey, I can fit a little bit of curve in there, I can shove 3 cars in there by shoving that curve in there. Flex track will allow you to do it where you may not get what you're looking for using sectional track all the time. But keep that in mind, there's different things you can do, different switches you can use. There's Y switches, there's crossovers. I mean, it's kind of the sky's the limit with what you can design here. I mean, you've got a crossing right here. Take that in there, right there. Bam, in there, okay? So now you've got a crossing and you start figuring out what you want to do. So software is not meant to be intimidating. Software is here to help you. It's just a tool, that's all it is. It's no different than pulling out the pad of paper and the pencil and scale ruler and trying to put something on paper and do the drawing. So, Scott, I see your hand back there.
Okay, if you want to go back and change one of those sections of the track, so that thing, do it
Right here?
Yeah, can you do that?
Yeah.
And rearrange it?
Bam.
Yeah,
Okay, that piece is gone.
24 inch.
All right, we're going to go to a 24-inch radius. Okay, let's see if that's one right there. There's 24-inch radius. So now we're going to shove that in there. That's the sound effects I have. Okay, so watch what's going to happen. You got a problem. It did not join that. It only joined it right there.
Can you change the whole curve without having to?
Well, I'd have to go back and put 24-inch radius in there versus 22. But the answer to your question, Scott, is yes, I have a problem right there. It's not joined
Yeah,
yet.
what I'm saying is, can you change the whole curve without having to take every piece out and rewrite it?
No.
No, I think I'd have to take each piece out and put a new insertion in it.
So maybe it's only because on the free version, on the paid version, you probably change the whole curve.
I don't know, I have to play with it a little bit more. This is just working with a couple hours of playing with this program and getting used to it. Like I said, this is not CAD. I'm used to a CAD program and all that, so I do a lot more advanced stuff. But this is a very user-friendly, intuitive program that you can get used to very quickly. Well, in the beginning, when we went back to home and we went to settings, I was actually doing some different grids and setting up stuff and all that right there. So I'm basically working in 12-inch grid patterns, what I'm working in.
Walt,
I'm here. Yes, sir. Yes.
Earlier you showed how you could take part of the track and move it around anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And you also take part of the track and rotate it somewhat.
Oh, there you go. Now connected. Now connected. Then now connected to that curve. Yay! You didn't even have to pay for it. Yeah.
Click and click. So, you know, guys, I really just wanted to just kind of familiarize you with it. If you're exploring about doing some track designs, what a great opportunity to go try something out. You don't have to put an investment in it to figure out if you like it or not. Give it a trial run, see what you think. This is model railroading. You try things, if you don't like it, you try something else. That's one nice thing about this hobby. There's lots of options out there. Hey, if you want to go to Sandia, you want to go to CAD Rail, go download. They're going to charge you, okay? But that's okay. They make very good software. They have some really advanced features if you think you can get into using that kind of software. But if you are really intimidated by advanced software, don't go out there. Stay with something simple. Keep your mind focused on what you think you can handle, and I think you'll be happier with what you're trying out, or at least try it first. Yes, sir. This is a trial version. It's been a while.
It's indefinite. It's indefinite. Can you save a trial version?
Yeah, I saved all these files right here. These are my files. Now, they will not, let me tell you this. Let me show you this feature, because I got to watch my time here. I can do an export. I can export it as a JPEG, or a BMP, or a PNG, or a GIF file. I can do it different ways. I can also do it with the train player, export it as that. And then it also has a JMR layout file export. Now, the one thing it doesn't have here, it might have it in the advanced program, I don't know, because I haven't paid my $59. There's a file format For guys that are around AutoCAD, you know what I'm about to tell you. It's called DWG. That is a drawing format, or DXF, drawing exchange format. Those are universal CAD type programs that use those formats. It does not save it in that format, okay? I will also tell you there's languages available. It is a worldwide product. I think this was designed in Europe, from what I can tell. So, but it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty neat. But I wanted to tell you about those file formats. You know, if you run AutoCAD, you're going to be saving in a DWG format. So, but this is not bad. I think this is pretty cool stuff. Joe?
Well, if you were using that flex tracker, can you set what curve you want, like a 30-inch curve, 32-inch curve?
Yeah, there's different stuff you can do in here. You can actually set it up the way you want it. Use really. Yeah, I just kind of playing around here just so you get a little taste of it. I mean, you saw me earlier. Let me bounce back to the other one. I'm going to open another drawing. Save changes to Untitled, yeah, sure. All right, this is the one I kind of came to you with earlier tonight. This is one that I actually worked on, threw a little yard in it. It shows the percent of grade here. I got center line turned on, I got road bed turned. I showed the percent, just kind of threw a nice little layout in there, but I thought this kind of pulled it in perspective just to show you how quick you can do something. So this is kind of a halfway finished type of little project that, you know, how easy it is actually to do and stuff. So, but I thought it was pretty cool, and I wanted to share it with you.
Hey, Walt,
Yes, sir. See you over there.
you have this is an 8-foot grid. What if you want to change it to 16-foot with your track?
I will tell you this, the trial version has a size limitation. That I do know in the trial version, they have a limited size. I don't know what the size limitation is yet, I haven't found out, but they do say that in their statement when you download it. So, but they do show some drawings, some pretty advanced layouts that have been designed in the product. So I thought that's pretty cool that they're doing this stuff. So, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna kind of wrap this thing up. Any more questions, Del?
I just want to say, I just looked it up, the trial period is no limit.
That's kind of where I'm at. You can go in.
Hey, Walt.
I don't know what it was,
We have
but I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, David, stand up.
Yeah, just real quick too, excellent work. I've played with this thing a little bit for downloading. If you pay the $59 even to upgrade, there are some print capabilities and some expansion capabilities that come into it. But it'll do most everything. And if you purchase it, it will build Lego track plans in both radio control 9-volt. It'll do Rio track plans and Disney monorail. It comes with all kinds of track plans.
Yeah.
And you get a 200 basic track plan download when you buy it too, like 200 basic layouts that you can edit. It's real nice.
Well, that is it for my presentation. Oh, we got one more question. Norm? Well, the scale I got is, I think a 1 to 12 inch. Yeah, you can set the scale and get it all set up the way you want to. The printing I haven't tried yet. I haven't played around with the printing process. Yeah, you can get it on paper, but like I said, it's kind of going back to the same thing. You know, if you're using grid paper, I'm pretty much doing the same thing here. I'm just using the grids to kind of hold my position when I'm working on and stuff. But I think it's pretty fun. I mean, that's what I want you to do. I want you to think about, hey, I can take this, I can do that. They don't look that hard. Walt made that look pretty easy. It is. It's not hard. Okay? I don't want you to be intimidated by it. If you get a CAD package, you're probably going to say, wow, man, that's tough stuff. It can be. CAD can be a little bit intimidating. So, but it does work. It's just a lot more stuff you got to learn. A lot of new terminals and stuff. So that's it for me. Don't leave yet. Thank you. I think it's been a great meeting, everybody. I want to say thank you for coming out tonight. It's a great turnout. I thank you for staying around for my clinic, and thank you for voting. And like I said, tell somebody thank you for serving your country. Good night, everybody. Have a wonderful night.